Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome and thank you so much for tuning in. Today we are going to be making Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas tumbler tags. So let's jump right into this. It's going to be super fun and a lot to cover. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I have all these different shapes and sizes of tumbler tags that I purchased. I will link those in the description box below if you want to check those out. And these are acrylic. So we're just going to go ahead and peel off the paper on one side of the tumbler tag. If you want to go ahead and peel off the other side, you can. But for me, I always find that doing that toward the end is better and easier, and it helps prevent any kind of epoxy or anything that may drip down or get to the other side. It just kind of keeps the other side clean and until you're ready to finish with your final coat of epoxy. So we're going to peel that off. We're going to go ahead and sand it down, and then you're ready to get started with decorating the tumbler tag. Okay, so you can see here, I have just labeled my tumbler tags when they came in. They just come in with this brown paper on both sides to protect the acrylic. And I tend to forget, so I just took a Sharpie and marked what they were so that I would know what I was working with. And then I just took these little chains and hooked them together so I didn't have to mark on every single one, and so they could just sort of stay together. But you can store them however you'd like. Um, so as I mentioned, we're going to go ahead and sand our acrylic blanks. Now, normally you do not see footage of me sanding my tumblers or my acrylic blanks or anything like that. And that is because I do not sand in my craft space. I do not want any dust flying around that could potentially settle on something else that I'm working on. Therefore, I take all of my items outside to sand, and it's just a lot of trouble hauling my camera and my tripod and all of that out there to just get footage of sanding. However, I wasn't working on anything else at the time, and these are so small. I just decided to get some paper towels, lay them down on a tray, and just lightly and slowly sand them there so that I could just roll the paper towels back up and keep the sanding dust inside contained in that paper towel. Okay, so as I mentioned, we have a lot to cover today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you in real time the sanding process on this first one. And after that, I will probably speed up the sanding process on the rest of them. I am using a 60 grit sanding block and just, lightly and slowly sanding as close to that paper towel as possible to contain that dust. We're going to be using UV resin for these tags today, and I will have all the items and products that I've used listed and linked for you down below if you're interested. Now, once you sand your acrylic, go ahead and just rub that down with some rubbing alcohol. As you can see, I just kind of spritzed it there, and I'm using a coffee filter to dry it off. Now, on this particular tag, when I first saw it, I saw so many things. A witch's cauldron, a pumpkin carriage, a Christmas ornament, a Santa Claus. So, you let your imagination run wild with these shapes. They don't have to be what they are. So, for example, we're going to be using a daisy shaped tag, but we're going to be turning that one into a turkey for Thanksgiving. So, I'm using about 2.5 milliliters of UV resin, and I'm just going to mix my glitter in. Now you can paint these if you'd like. I typically do not like to paint my tumbler tags. I don't know why, um, but I just don't. But if you want to paint it first before putting your glitter on, that is fine. That's totally up to you. And we're just going to use this Rockets Red Glare from the Glitter Grind, and we're going to go ahead and get that smoothed on. Now, I'm also going to use this is for when you epoxy ink pens or pencils, but I have just wrapped it in some blue painter's tape, and I'm just going to sort of plug up my hole on this tag. And that's just going to prevent the resin from dripping down in that hole so much and causing a lot of gunk and goop that you have to clean up later. Now, remember when working with these acrylics, we haven't pulled the other brown paper from the other side off yet. So, it looks like it's going to be brown in behind there, but it's not. We're going to pull that off. Now, once we have our glitter on this topper, we're going to go ahead and place it under our UV light to let that start curing while we work on our next one. The next one is going to be a witch's cauldron. Now, I know most witches' cauldrons are black, but this is, modern age. So this witch's cauldron is going to be made of glass, so she can see through her cauldron and see how everything is cooking up. So I thought that would be, um, so I thought it would be super cute to sort of make it look like you could see through the cauldron and then have it bubbling over. And we're going to be using some pearls and flat back beads for that later on. On the witch's cauldron, after I sanded and wiped it down with alcohol, I just used this emerald green alcohol ink and just put a little dot on there. And then I'm going to use a popsicle stick and just sort of spread that out and kind of make it look like green witch's juice. And again, we're using about 2.5 to 5 milliliters of UV resin for these tags. Now, depending on how much glitter you add to the resin, or what all you add to the resin, that will determine how much you will need. When you add alcohol ink, as we're going to do later on, it does thin out the resin a little bit, makes it a little bit more runny. So you could probably get by with a little bit less. And then, of course, when you add glitter, that glitter is going to soak in some of that resin. So you may have to add a little bit more. But just play around with it. You can always add more, but you can't really take away. And you don't want to waste any. So just maybe start with 2.5 milliliters. If you have to add more, you can. And once I have the alcohol ink spread out how I'd like, I'm using this confetti glitter. It's Halloween shapes, and I'm just pouring that in with my UV resin and spreading that around with my popsicle stick. Again, just making it appear that these items are in the cauldron cooking along with the green liquid. And we're just going to go ahead and place that under our UV lamp to let that cure while we work on the next step. Now I'm just going to clean up the rim of the first tumbler tag that we did and make sure none of the resin dripped over to the sides. Just going to clean that up with my craft knife. And then I didn't like how translucent it still appeared with this red glitter. So on this round, I'm going to add some red alcohol ink to the resin, as well as some more red glitter, just to sort of make it really deeply covered without having to use any paint, and it turned out really well. Now, after that one cured, I did go ahead and cut some vinyl. This is a space gray and gold vinyl. I'll have those linked below for you. And we just made a Santa's belt. And I'm just placing that in the center of the tumbler tag. So now on this go around, I did not measure my UV resin. I just sort of placed some on top and smoothed it out with my gloved finger. The next tag we're doing is this round one with a straw hole. And this is going to be a snow globe. So for this one, I'm just going to add some sparkle dust, about 2 small scoops of sparkle dust to my UV resin because I want it to kind of remain clear so that it looks like a true snow globe. On the inside, we're going to put a snowman and some confetti snowflakes. And while that one is curing, I'm going to go ahead and pull the witch's cauldron back out and work on the next step on that one. So I went ahead and removed the backing just to sort of see what it would look like. I wasn't exactly pleased at this point. It just needed a little something else. So I did go ahead and add a little bit of black glitter from Maker Flow Crafts called Eclipse to the UV resin, and I'm just going to put on the very outsides of the cauldron to just sort of make it look more like a cauldron, but still I wanted it to be kind of a see-through. So that's what we're going to do here. And then once that was done, I did go ahead and put some plain UV resin on the inside and just sort of smooth that out. While that one is curing, we're going to go ahead and move on to our turkey. Now, as I mentioned before, this is actually a daisy-shaped tag, but I thought the little flower petals also were reminiscent to turkey feathers. And since the holidays are coming up, I did want to do a Thanksgiving-themed one. So rather than using the round one for a pumpkin, I wanted to do a turkey. So we're just going to sand it the same way as the previous 3, spray it down with some alcohol, wipe it down really well. And then we're going to use this chrysalis from Simply Sarah Customs and place that in our UV resin. And while that one is curing, go ahead and cut your vinyl for your tags. And once this one has cured, you can see we're going to go ahead and I've cut my turkey out of this metallic rose gold textured vinyl. And I'm just going to place the feathers on first, the body, the wings, etc. And once I had the vinyl placed on there, I sort of second guessed myself because it was kind of monotone, but I sort of liked it like that. But if you wanted to create like a peekaboo effect, you could use some removable vinyl, place it on there, paint it, pull up the vinyl, and then you would have that peekaboo effect on your tumbler tag. So just another idea for you there. But I'm going to go ahead and keep mine as is. I just think it's cute and simple and very fallish, but you can, get creative. Now for the smaller pieces, the eyes, the beak, we're going to color those in with acrylic markers. You can cut yours out of different colored vinyls if you'd like, but to be honest, I was being a little bit lazy and just decided to cut everything out of this same metallic rose gold vinyl. We're going to go ahead and place another coat of UV resin on top and let that cure while we move on to our next tag. So I have my snow globe tag here and I've cleaned up the edges and we're ready to place our snowman. So again, I was being a little bit lazy. Um, I cut a snowman silhouette out of white vinyl, and then I cut his carrot nose and scarf out of different vinyl. But you will see, snowmen don't have white hats. They don't have white arms. So, but that's okay because again, we're going to be using our acrylic markers and just go over those sections with the appropriate color. And you'll see here in a moment what I mean. Now, I did cut my snowman a little bit tall, but I checked here to make sure that it was not interfering in the straw hole and it was not. So I was good with that. And I just think this is absolutely adorable. Now, once I got everything on there, colored my hat and colored his arms and had his eyes and buttons, then I was ready for my snow. Now, I have all these different ones. I have this red, white, and green mixture. I have a solid white, a solid red, and then this red, green, gold, and white mixture. But as I was contemplating which one to use, I really wanted to go colorful, but then again, I wanted it to look like a true snow globe, and they usually have white snow. So I just decided to go ahead and go with the white snow. And this is again like a confetti glitter. So I'm just going to mix this in with my UV resin and spread it on the tag. Now, once I got that completed, then I realized I forgot to add dots for his mouth. So, but that's okay because that can be fixed. You'll see later how I fixed that. So, no need to panic, no need to worry. And here's our Santa Claus tag. It is complete. And I've taken the paper off of the opposite side. And same thing for the witch's cauldron. This one is complete. We're going to go ahead and put the flat back beads and little rhinestones on for our bubbling over effect. Now, normally I would just use some sort of strong adhesive to put these on. However, I just went ahead and dipped the opposite side of my wax pen into a little bit of UV resin, and we're going to apply them in that manner. But I believe you could use like a liquid fusion or something like that if you'd like. But since we were working with the UV resin, I already had it out, I decided to apply them that way. And now the snow globe tag has cured. I'm going to go ahead and just dot his mouth with my acrylic marker and wait for that to dry. Then I'm just going to apply another coat of UV resin on top. So easy peasy fix, no big deal. And then we will just let that cure under our UV light once again. Now our turkey tumbler tag is complete. I'm going to go ahead and take the paper off of the back side, and look how cute. It is absolutely adorable. I love it. And I love the tone on tone. I don't know. You may not like it. That's okay. This is inspiration. You can make it your own. And of course, the Santa Claus tumbler tag. I love it. And now I have taken the paper off of the back side of the snow globe tag, and look how sparkly it is. We did not use any glitter. We just used that sparkle dust from Sandy's Organized Chaos, and look how sparkly it is. The witch's cauldron turned out perfect. I love it. And so we're done. That is it for this tutorial. Please, if you have any questions or comments, just leave those below. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. But this was super fun. Let your imagination run wild. I would love to see if this has inspired you in some way and you post a video. Please tag me in it. Um, I would love to see it. So, thanks so much for watching. I hope you had fun with this tutorial today. I hope you learned something, and I hope this was inspiring in some way. I thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to please subscribe and click on that bell for notifications, because I have some super fun and exciting tutorials coming up in the next few weeks, and I cannot wait to show them to you and share them with you. So be sure to click on that subscribe button and click on the bell for notifications so you don't miss a single tutorial. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. And I hope everyone has a blessed day.